Well, welcome today. I thought I might do a vlog style post, and this is something I might do a little bit more. As right now, I'm in a time of quite great transition, and I don't necessarily even know where I'm going. Probably don't know this about me, but I actually left my job a few weeks ago, and I'm kind of on a journey of maybe, I guess we'd call it finding ourselves. I'm in a position where I can do that, and I know I'm lucky for that. But with that, I don't want to stand on that. I just kind of wanted to explain to you why things may change a little bit more and why I'm adding this vlog. Now, this vlog might not happen every day, but I'd like to do it a little bit. So, I've started here and I'm working on a project that basically is learning about hashing passwords so that I can actually create a login password or a login page, a login system for a website that I'm building for a personal project where I might be able to edit some stuff inside of this web page or generally change things, sort of like a WordPress feel. Now, I want to build this all myself. I know I can choose options like WordPress. I've showed you guys even how to set them up here on the channel, but I want to build this myself. I have some personal reasons for it, yada, yada. Basically, a lot of learning that I wanted to do, a lot of knowledge about website building. As I mentioned in the post yesterday, I'm kind of learning about how to do a lot of more web development than I've done in the past. But I wanted to take today and really show you guys some of the stuff. Like, I'm in the middle of a project that as of the moment isn't working, and that's fine. Like, I will struggle through it, and I kind of wanted to show you guys that. So, it happens to me. I'm here learning with you right side by side, and I make these videos to better learn the content, but to help all of you, because sometimes it can be hard to find information that maybe is easy to learn from. I've seen that in a lot of comments of thanks, and that was really why I set out to do YouTube 3 years ago, was to add to the availability of information on YouTube about Proxmox, because at the time I was trying to learn Proxmox and I'd have to sit through sometimes a 30-minute video to figure out 10 seconds worth of information. And somewhat my styles changed a little bit into that as well, because that's what the viewership wanted. But with that being said, I also have tried to keep it short, simple, and sweet for those reasons. The blog or a vlog isn't necessarily going to be that way. I know some of you have complained about the way I talk, and I don't plan on editing these vlog photos to fix any of that. So if you don't like that, probably not your content. I would suggest you click off and leave now. Sorry. But with that, let's look at my desktop here, and I'm on an ultra wide. My screen recording software is set up to try to give you guys the best possible image on your screens, so you can see that a lot of my windows actually are extending off. And I bring this up to show you, like, across the top, I didn't want to highlight any one particular article because it's not a fault of any one particular article, but I did bring up ChatGPT. ChatGPT has been a great tool since it came out somewhere around December for me, and I found it in early January for actually doing some of this research. And it is a great place to turn to. You do have to have somewhat of a background knowledge, I've found, in whatever you're doing to ask the right questions. But if you're asking good questions, you're generally getting good content. Now, it doesn't always work. In this case, I've turned to it because other tutorials that I was looking at, other information I was reading about wasn't working. So I turned here so I could try to ask some questions and learn. And I'm still struggling, and that's fine. That's how we learn. But I did want to bring it up. I wanted to show you, like, there's generally a lot of tools that you can use. Now, if we go over to my code, you can see that I have quite a few different files here, and I'm using Atom Editor here to go through. And my Docker file is generally quite large here. Now, this will ultimately turn into a website that will hash a password and then display the hashed password to me. I wanted to learn about hashing a password, and I wanted to make sure those steps were working correctly before I moved into trying to create a login page. And I'm going to probably, even with that login page, take that in steps where I actually will have probably some sort of file that the website will read from in the beginning that stores those usernames and passwords. And that's generally why I chose to hash them. Also, hashing them makes it so if there is some, injection that happens later as we move into a database, it's harder for that information to be recovered. Now it can be taken, but it's just kind of a good step to hash things. So I wanted to learn about it and make that happen. But you can see that these Docker files can get quite large and quite complex as you go and add services and add files. That's that. Now over here, you can see, again, I'm communicating with my Proxmox server here, and my Proxmox server has a VM on it, a VM that's running Ubuntu that's got a Docker installed on top of it, and I'm communicating with that with SSH. You can see here in the top screen, which you may not be able to tell where my mouse pointer is. I'm pretty sure you can't. But in the top part of this screen, I'm running commands to try to determine whether or not PHP is actually running. And you can see that I actually did find out that PHP is running here. And you can see in the bottom corner here on the right-hand side that I have another SSH session up, and I'm looking at that actual log, the output start, whatever you want to call it, from Nginx and getting errors. So I'm trying to figure out why here PHP isn't necessarily responding. I've come to the conclusion through my most recent post here that you can see, if we go back to my desktop view from ChatGPT, that I may actually have a block inside of one of my files, this particular file here, that isn't correct. So I need to go ahead. I've asked a few questions, and I'm going to have to change that bit of code, making sure it's changed correctly, and see if that'll work. I'll probably come back here, but I really wanted to take the opportunity to show you guys what my day might look like when I'm trying to learn this stuff. Like, it's not all peaches and honey. Like, when you follow a video, my videos, I tend to try to keep them as short and concise and to the point, and make sure they're working, and take them down if I find out they're not working. If you guys comment on them and say they're not working or say things aren't up to date, I'll try to unpublish them and either republish a new one or try in some way to make sure that this stuff works for you. But if it's not working, don't get down. Keep moving. Keep looking at different content and keep asking questions. Even if you comment on one of my videos, sometimes I'm busy and I can't get back to you. I've been working a 40-hour job up until this point, and sometimes it would be a few weeks before I looked at YouTube. YouTube's a side hustle for me. It might move into a little bit more of a mainstream hustle now, but as of the moment, it's not making that kind of revenue that I can worry about. It makes enough money for me to have hardware and kind of show you guys that, but I'll even have to take multiple months of revenue from that in order to even buy enough hardware on the used market for that to happen. Not complaining, that's what it is. I'm really here to teach you guys, but that is why we have ad content, to help us buy hardware to help you and show you different things. So with that, I'm going to end this session off. And if I do get this working today, I'll post that. If not, I'm going to call this the end of the vlog. All right.